Jason, how are you?
I'm doing good, thanks, and yourself.
Oh, cool. How's quarantine number two?
It's good, quiet,
All right, so
almost
you
over. So,
okay? So you've been in quarantine now for 10 days.
yeah, this is day number 10.
Day number 10. So tomorrow's freedom.
There we go. Freedom tomorrow.
I'm sure you're looking forward to that, eh?
I can't wait to just see people and give somebody a handshake, give somebody a fist bump, anything.
Cool. So just explain to us like this whole pandemic scenario that you've had. What has been your experience?
Um, so obviously my experience started in March when we stopped working, and then we had our lockdown as usual. I think everybody experienced that. And then we went back to work around June. And then pretty much around a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, I had felt a little off. I pretty much had a little bit of a fever, and it felt like a normal flu to me. So I went to the doctor. The doctor just recommended, he said, just take a COVID test just in case, just so that we can rule it out. Um, so I went and I took a COVID test, and then apparently I was positive.
Okay.
And here I stand 10 days later.
So you've been in home quarantine for 10 days.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. I remember, well, I mean, we obviously were in quite a bit of contact during the whole lockdown. So I know I mean, this has been a long kind of drawn out process. You were alone
Yeah.
in your apartment for a long time and, not being able to work, and it's, yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think it was easy on any of us, but I mean, up until now, you've had a pretty rough road, I would have thought. But hey, here you are, man. Tomorrow you're a free man.
There
Um,
we go.
so you mentioned the end of March when you finished working. What would you
Yeah.
say has been your biggest struggle during this pandemic time? The last, what,
6
6
months.
months? What's
Um,
been your biggest
the
struggle?
biggest struggle, the biggest struggle for me, if like anybody that knows me knows I'm a very social person. So I generally love talking to people. I love meeting people. And I much prefer like a face-to-face, physically seeing someone, going for coffee, than meeting them over Zoom or, like talking over phone calls. So I'm very much a social person. So that's probably been the hardest aspect for me, to be alone, to kind of be in your flat alone for a period of 4 or 5 days on end where you're not seeing anybody.
Yeah, it's hard.
It's just yourself for 4 or 5 days. So you do get a little bit of loneliness, but I think that's been my biggest struggle, not being able to be social.
Sure. Yeah, I think that's a lot of us. And, I always said during the lockdown period, especially, how blessed I was to have, Sarah and Jackson with me. And I realized that like there were people like you were home alone, you didn't have anybody, so it was, yeah, I'm sure it would have been quite rough. So this loneliness, if you want to say, that would have been your biggest struggle. You just mentioned it was
Yeah.
loneliness, that feeling of being
Yeah.
alone. How did you overcome that? Because you obviously here, you're still alive, you're still okay. How did you overcome that?
Yeah. So you have to, when life gives you lemon, you're going to have to make lemon juice. When
Absolutely.
life gives you oranges, you make orange juice. So
Yeah.
thank goodness we actually live in an age where technology is pretty prevalent. So we've at least been able to do video calls, to do Zoom. We sat during lockdown and we completed the post EGR. We did an alpha together. So like a lot of the days were filled up by actually talking to someone and physically being on the phone with someone. So that helps a lot, and that kind of keeps your mind occupied.
Yeah, it is a bit of a blessing, this virtual communication where we can, still, even though you may be alone, you're still not alone, and if that
Yeah.
makes sense. But yeah, yeah, I think personally from a, just from what, we went through a lot of this together, I'd say, you did have a lot of growth. And I think as a human being, as an individual, as a man, you kind of had a lot of growth during the period. So it was good. God was good.
Mm-hmm.
He was with you the whole time.
Amen.
So, what lesson would you say that God taught you, or maybe He's still teaching you through this whole process, through this whole time? What was your biggest or what did you take out of this? What's God trying to teach you?
One of the things is to rely fully on Him, and to trust Him fully.
That's right.
So obviously He's put me in a good company, so like I know there's been many people that have experienced kind of bad quarantines. So besides the lockdown, just the quarantine, my company's been there, they've always been helpful. If I've needed anything, they'll get the drivers to deliver it. I've had some of the staff just randomly bring me McDonald's.
That's cool.
I've had somebody call me and say like, hey, check your door. And then there's McDonald's, so like I've been surrounded by a lot of good people that have always been there. If I needed anything, I just have to make one phone call and, somebody will go out the way to 100%.
Yeah.
100%. And yeah, I mean, when you trust in Him, like I've always trusted from the beginning, that it doesn't matter what happens, I'm protected. So I haven't been naive in trying to pray that I don't get the virus. I've just trusted God that whatever happens, whether I get it or I don't, I know I'm going to be protected. I know that He's my healer. So
cool.
That's been the biggest thing for me, is that when you trust Him, you can see the results.
Yeah. That's cool. So, yeah. I mean, you have, I mean, if you look at it over the last 6 months, you've had, provincial provision, you've had, kind of emotional provision, provision of, good people that bring you McDonald's.
Yeah.
I mean, it's amazing how it takes a pandemic for you to, realize the blessing that is, these random acts of kindness, that actually means a lot more, and obviously ultimately God is your healer because you are healthy. I mean, you were fairly unscathed when it comes to the symptoms of this pandemic or the COVID-19. So you recovered fairly quickly. So God's your healer. He's provided everything in this time. That's all glory to Him, and it's a good thing.
Amen.
Cool. Well, I'm glad you are all good, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in person.
I can't wait.
Yeah, Tuesday you can actually come to our connection group. So that'll be great. Not on Zoom. So yeah, we're looking forward to it, man.
No, I look forward to seeing you too.
Cool. Have a great day. Thanks for
We'll do you too.
Okay.
No worries. Cheers.
Cheers.